Welcome back, my lovelies. I'm going to be talking about two Japanese dramas that I finished watching. And I thought, even though these were two different dramas that are so different in tone, the core messaging in both of them really pleased me. And I was like, I need to share this with the listeners. So here I am to talk about Our Youth and My Cosmetic Lover. I think I just meshed two titles together. I mean, Are You and Cosmetic Play Lover. There we go. That's what was missing, the play part. So, yes, I watched these two Japanese dramas, and I don't know, the Japanese do BL so differently from any other country that I've seen. It's definitely its own unique flair to the genre. I've spoken about this at different times in the past, but I love the ability for them to create or like to take a simple yet nuanced everyday theme and create this world around it that doesn't necessarily always deal with boy love content. So, yeah, we're going to be talking about Our Youth and my cosmetic playover. My apologies. I don't like this ever since I've watched it, my brain just refuses to like hold on to its official title. But yeah, so like I said, while the tone of Our Youth is quite different from Cosmetic Play Lover, the core theme between the both of them was acceptance. So with that said, let's jump into it. Our Youth, Japanese title, Mai Senain Mijukuna Oritachi wa Bukio ni Shinkochu. Our Youth is all about, you've got two students, two completely different types of people, human beings, different temperaments, backgrounds, so on and so forth. You've got Jin Minase. He is the responsible straight A student. And then you've got Aruki Hirukawa, who is known as the delinquent. He comes to class late. He doesn't listen to teachers. He be choking teachers out. Like, he's a delinquent. He smokes cigarettes. So you know he's a real delinquent. And again, these two people's everyday life, background, so on and so forth, are so different. You always had Jin, who, he doesn't get involved in things that don't concern him. He is very, I would say, mild mannered in his approach to a lot of things, averts conflict. Through his friendship, through his meeting with Haruki, it changes his perspective. And honestly, not just his perspective, it changes both individuals' perspective regarding what they expect for themselves and what they expect from the world. Our Youth is 10 episodes, and I watched this through Gaga Ulala. I believe that might be the only place you can watch it legally. If anyone is listening who works for Gaga Ulala, for the love of God, can you please allow us to do screenshots again? Like, if you watch international programming, of course, or maybe you don't know, like, Japanese content is they're a lot more stringent when it comes to copyright and showing their shit abroad. So a lot of the licenses that places like Gaga Olala get really tie them down. But at the same time, it's like, I want to shout this drama to the world, but I literally can't advertise it unless I go through some circles, which a woman will have to. But like, yeah, I want to celebrate and share this with as many people. But of course, sort of because of their laws, it's not as easy to do so with Japanese dramas. But do so we must, because we are humans and we adapt. So Our Youth is 10 episodes. You've got Jen and you've got Haruki. One day, Jen basically sees Haruki being beat up by his dad. essentially his home life is trash. His father's an alcoholic. He gets beat all the time for like just nonsense because, again, his father's an alcoholic. And Jin sees him one day when this happens, and it kind of triggers a connection between them where they start interacting with each other. And there's this park in their mutual neighborhood that initially sort of serves as the connection point. And that's another thing I've got to say about this show, this series, is, oh my God, cinematography is beautiful. This was so well intentionally shot. You can tell when care goes into a show, and absolutely, I feel like whoever was behind this drama paid it a lot of respects in the way they translated it to the viewership. Now, I have never read the manga. My bad, I've never read the webtoon this was adapted from. I would love to. If somebody knows where I can get a link, please share. I don't mind paying for it. But yeah, you can absolutely tell that a lot of respect went into creating the show. And it initially aired November 5th, 2024, and it ran through January 7th, 2025. So yeah, the story starts with them making a connection and gravitating towards each other while also kind of realizing how different they are from each other. Like, again, like I said, Jin's a straight A student. Haruki is not. Is like, he's so responsible. He lives by himself. His parents, like his dad's a director, and I don't know, his mom's a wife. And not to say she doesn't have a job, but I don't recall his mother having an actual job. Maybe like supporting the husband or like socialite. But again, it's not really something of substance. But regardless, he lives by himself for the majority of the time while his parents travel. They trust him enough to be like, go to school. Like, that's the kind of person Jin is, where like his parents know they can be gone for weeks, if not months, and he's not going to burn the house down. Now you have a Haruki who the world expects nothing from him, and because of that, you don't realize what's actually going on behind the delinquency. Like, behind the delinquency is a father who beats him bloody, and so he can't go to school for several days, even though the school would be like, oh, he just doesn't want to learn. It's like, no, he's got a black eye. He has to stay home for a couple of days. And the both of them connect with each other, and it sparks something that they don't really quite know how to deal with. I think for the most part, the show does a good job in showing how they're kind of like each other's first love interest. And Haruki is like a himbo at times, where he'll be like, dude, I don't think you're cute. Like, you're a guy. Why would I think you're cute? And Jen is like, I don't know. Jen is like, why would you think I'm cute? I'm a guy. Like, that's not something we do. And eventually you can only do that until like the dam breaks. And when it does, it is so cute and adorable. What connects the both of them is their love for film. Like I mentioned, Jin's dad's a director, and it turns out Haruki's favorite director is Jin's dad. Like, he didn't even know that connection was there. So there's this connection through the types of movies they enjoy and Haruki's perception of the world, even though like his home life is such trash. Like his dad is divorced from his mom, and I guess his mom basically left and disappeared, so the father doesn't know where the mom is, and because of that he abuses his son, being like, where's your mom? Tell me where your mom is. And for Haruki, it's like, yo, if I tell him where my mother is, he will kill my mother, but it's okay if he kills me. And you're just like, oh my God, please someone take care of this kid. And you know, the first couple of episodes I loved, and I was just like, oh my God, if this, like, it clicked in my mind maybe around episode 4. I was like, what if this doesn't end happily? Like, I had not prepared myself for that, because again, the acting between the actors, for lack of a better word, was so well done, was so strong, was consistent through each and every episode. We see them grow closer to each other. We see them sort of like keep the secret of the intimacy of their feelings because the world be judging, as they sort of experience this personal growth between each other. It allows them to sort of break these barriers, whether societally or, and not even necessarily societally, I would say internally, because they didn't expect what their connection would end up looking like. It's a really good story of like teenage love blooming into maturity and how it ends. So again, it goes from them in high school towards them meeting in college and then so on. But yeah, I absolutely loved Our Youth. 10 episodes of just greatness. I have nothing but good things to say about it. There, again, cinematography was great, acting was great, the chemistry was absolutely there between the two leads. And I think they did a great job in showing the progression of not just age, but also the progression of life experiences between these two characters. So, yeah, like I said, well acted, well plotted, storyline was great, cinematography was excellent, and it was just a really good show. Like, I would say, I would give this like the highest, like 10 out of 10. Because I, at some point, I was like, what can I say is bad about this show? Like, I was actively looking for like negatives within the show, and I just could not find them. I'm sure if some of you look deep enough, you'll find it. But yeah, no, this is a really good show. And the way it highlights acceptance within ourselves, what that looks like with the people we love and the people who are within our circle, just really great. Absolutely, absolutely really great. Next up, another show that came out in 2024 that I'm going to be recommending is Cosmetic Playlover. This is also based, or this is based around the manga series by Sachi Narishima, and it's about Sahashi and Natsume, who both work at as cosmetic consultants for a makeup brand. Sahashi and Natsume, of course, um, have different personalities. I guess I like contrasting personalities in people. So how does their personality vary? Well, you've got Sahashi, he's a hottie, he's tall, and a lot of people assume because he's hot that like he kind of gets through life, you know, fairly easily. And not to say he doesn't, because pretty has its privileges, but like he's still a person. And then you've got Natsume, who is this nerdy looking dude who also works at this as a cosmetic consultant for this makeup company called Romy. I'm sure it's an absolutely real company. Thanks. Shout out to them for sponsoring a whole BL series. We are grateful. And yeah, so Natsume is very straight laced. He's like that. He's that employee with a notebook. He works all day, then he goes home and he studies work, and then he comes back to work to like implement the changes he studied. Like, he is very about his job. Now, as a former retail worker, if you guys are fairly new and haven't heard like earlier episodes of me, like I worked in retail for a decade, and that was definitely my younger time. I do not believe I have the stamina for that life at all, but it was also some of the funnest time I ever had. I was actually telling my sister the other day that like, yo, I worked in corporate for like, I don't know, 15 to 20 years, and I have not ever had the same level of teamwork in corporate than I have had when I worked in retail. Like, it's a different world, both of them. But yeah, so outside of that, that kind of endears me to this work situation they're both in, where Natsume is Sahashi's senior, his senpai. For those of you who watch Korean dramas, he's his oppa. Because of that, Natsume takes Sahashi under his wing. He's like, oh, everybody calls him a bad egg, but like I'm gonna I'm gonna believe in him. Like Natsume is very what's the word I could use to describe him? Is endearing, hopeful at the many outcomes of life. And I was watching Cosmetic Playlover at the same time I was watching Our Youth. And some days Our Youth was just so heavy in terms of the tone and the plot and what was happening that I was so happy to switch to Cosmetics Playlover and just have it be two dudes working a makeup counter and, leaving work and going to work and giving each other the eye. Like this was the perfect sandwich of drama watching that I had for a good period of time. Now, Cosmetic Playlover is 8 episodes, initially aired in August 2024 and ran through, August 6th through August 27th, 2024. It stars Akune So and Toyada Udai. Now, yeah, so two guys, they're working at this cosmetics company. Natsume is like, I'm going to take you under my wing. And in the process, Sahashi just realizes, like, yo, I like this nerdy older senpai who is trying to get me and my life together. And in the beginning, Sahashi finds out that Natsume has a crush on a manager who is a straight manager, who is married. And he's like, oh, you like that guy. Oh, and you don't even care that he doesn't like you. But what's interesting in that dynamic is Natsume likes this outside manager who is married with a wife. And I'm pretty sure this outside manager knows that. So it kind of skirts, like, that guy is not like interested, but it's like when you know someone likes you and you kind of like use that to get perks for yourself. Natsume doesn't, but it kind of feels like this outside manager does. So Sahashi realizes it and he kind of like quote unquote holds it over Natsume, like, oh, I know you like that guy, but like, honestly, that's not even a thing. I feel like that was barely a blip in the switch between their relationship. Regardless, there is a switch. Sahashi immediately is just like, I like you now, and I'm gonna, like, he buys some earrings in one episode, and like a lot of his, like, he is a bit more direct in his like, and Natsume is a bit more closed off, if not reserved. With 8 episodes, they pack a lot in terms of like their workplace relationships, how they are as people, because again, this is a workplace relationship. Your work self is completely different from your not at work self. So, and Natsume plays such a tightly wound person who always wants to succeed that he finds it hard to lean on Sahashi when he should, even though Sahashi's like, dude, like, signed, sealed, and delivered. But again, it's the growing pains of a relationship. Their attraction, chemistry, 10 out of 10, delicious. Height differential, I love it. It's perfect dessert. And yeah, I just like the background of the workplace relationship with these two people. Like, it's not a big production, so many scenes are just limited to them either at work or in like their apartment, but it's so very well done. Sahashi has like possessive male lead vibes, and while Natsume is sort of looked at as like, I guess you would say, the more malleable one, in a sense he's also not. And they have this one episode where there is like a possible third who comes into the picture, and he has a very apt description of who Natsume is as a person that like I really like how he was like, oh, you're not weak at all. You're just out here being cute and deadly. Got it. But yeah, no, I really liked it. Chemistry was good. Acting was good. Story, plot. Yeah, I really totally enjoy it. enjoyed it. And again, like I said, I was watching this at the same time as I was watching Our Youth. So, Our Youth, it was a little bit darker, and Cosmetic Playlover was more the sprinkles of sunshine I needed. So, but both were absolutely fabulous in what they purported to represent. And again, it's just both, regardless of tone, sought to have these characters who grow and they accept themselves and they accept change. And I really like that. I really like that. So if you watched either Cosmetic Play Lover or Our Youth, please let me know. If you end up checking it out and you like it, let me know your thoughts. And outside of that, that's all I've got for you guys. And, we'll do this again soon. If you have any recommendations for Japanese dramas out there, hetero or BL or gay or whatever we're calling it, just good Japanese dramas, feel free to recommend them to your girl. Again, thank you for listening, and I appreciate your support, and we'll do this all again soon. Bye.